Welcome. My name is Susan DeMarco, and this is my co-chair, Christy Swanbeck, and we are the co-chairs this year to the 14th annual John Cooper School Signature Author Series. And we are thrilled to welcome two of our authors this year, Catherine Lane and Lori Parise. A little bit about Signatures, if you don't know. Signatures is their 14th year. It will be held on Friday, November 30th, and we are very excited about it. It starts at around 10 a.m. and goes to after lunch. And this year, our keynote speaker, we are so excited, is Kevin Kwan. He wrote Crazy Rich Asians. And if you didn't read the book, you probably saw the movie. He also wrote two other books. He wrote Crazy Rich Asians, China Rich Girlfriend, and Rich People Problems. And the thing that's amazing with Kevin is he had 3 books on the New York Times bestseller list this fall. 3 of the top 10 books being sold in this country were written by Kevin Kwan. He also had the movie that was #1 for months this fall. So it is just a thrill that he is coming. In addition, he was also listed as one of Time Magazine's 100 most influential people for 2018. And we can't believe it. He's coming to the Woodlands Marriott on November 30th to come speak to us. One of the things the John Cooper School does with this event is we pick a literacy-oriented beneficiary. And this year, our beneficiary is the Montgomery County Library System. So it's just going to be a fabulous event. If you'd like to join us, you can go to johncooper.org/special events and buy your tickets. And I think that's plenty of reasons to go to this event, don't you?
Yes.
But we actually have some other reasons to go. One other reason is we have this crazy raffle this year. And this raffle is going to be so exciting. It's a bit of a secret, so you have to come to the event to see it. But we have this antique Asian piece that is so beautiful. It's what I'm actually hoping I win, but it's beautiful. You have to come and see it.
And it'll be signed.
It will be signed by Kevin Kwan. We also have a trip to New York. We have a piece of jewelry donated by Markle Jewelry that is beautiful. And you're not going to believe this. We have a 10-day trip to Singapore for 2 people, airfare included, hotels included, some tours, all paid for, donated by Andrew Butler Travel. So you have to come, just for the raffle. And because we know we've had some requests this year because some people are out of the country or out of town and actually can't come to the event, we're actually for the first time offering sales of raffle tickets. And you can call John Cooper School and ask to speak to the advancement office. And you can actually purchase raffle tickets beforehand. And you do not have to be present to win. So we've got Kevin Kwan. We've got the raffle. We also have a VIP reception, which is, to me, a very cool thing that you can participate in. When you buy your ticket, you can decide if you want to be a sponsor. And if you're a sponsor, you can go to the VIP reception where you can meet Kevin Kwan, have your photo taken with him. And from all accounts that I've heard, he is engaged, interesting, witty, and just very participating in events that he does. So really worthwhile. Also, if you don't go to the VIP reception, you can also, after the luncheon, he will sign books after the luncheon. So you can also have that. So these are all reasons why everyone should be at Signatures. But there's another special treat, and I'm going to let Christy talk about that.
Well, it's my favorite part of Signatures. It's our visiting authors. And this is an event, it's 2 hours prior to the luncheon. And the visiting authors are there for you to go and meet and interact with. So not only do you get to come to this event and hear Kevin Kwan speak, but you also have 15 to 20 visiting authors that you can go meet with ahead of time. So how does this all work? Well, you show up to Signatures, you go to the reception and check in, and then you get yourself perhaps something to drink, maybe a mimosa or something, and go into the reception area where the visiting authors are, and you can see the fantastic drawing raffle items that'll be there, and you can make your way to each one of the visiting authors and speak and get to meet them. For me, it's a great way to find a gift for the holidays or a gift for yourself or for someone else. The visiting authors can tell you about their books. They can also autograph them for you, but also many of them will inscribe them personally for you. So you can get the holiday gift for someone that would enjoy it. And as always, we have a really broad selection of visiting authors. We try to cover many genres. We have children's books. We typically have travel. We have current events, thriller, self-help, fiction, nonfiction, just a huge variety. There's just so many to choose from. And if you would like to know more about which visiting authors we have coming this year and get a little bit more information on them, well, the only way to do that is to go to johncooper.org and get yourself a ticket and come to Signatures. And then you can meet with our visiting authors that'll be there. Perhaps it will make it a little more enticing to know a little bit more of the history behind some of our visiting authors and actually get to meet a few. So we do have 2 of them with us today, and I'll let Susan tell you about one of our authors.
Takes great pleasure. It's great pleasure that I introduce Lori Parise. Lori wrote a biography of an everyday couple from ordinary into inspirational. And Lori, I had the pleasure of reading your book.
Thank
and
you.
I have to tell you, I was humbled and so touched to be invited into your family's home, which is really what you did in this book. You brought everyone into your home. It was just beautiful. So thank you.
Thank you.
So I have a question for you. It's about your parents. And you know, we all have parents, but what prompted you to write about, what motivated you to write about them? Because I mean, that's a lot of work to write about, you know, just these beautiful people. What prompted you?
Well, first, we always had stories my mother would tell around the kitchen table, which is one of the chapters in the book. And she would tell about her life and my father's life. And what I understood is that ordinary, everyday people can be extraordinary. You don't have to be a superstar to make a difference in people's life. And I think sometimes people forget that there's neighbors, community leaders, your own family, friends that can be a role model for you.
Oh, I agree. Okay, I have another question for you. So it's all about family, and family can be complicated, and yours is an extended family. So I'm curious, this is your perspective of what happened in your family. So when you shared this with, you know, siblings and everybody, did everyone agree, or did they say, no, you've got this? I mean, how did you get everyone to agree that this is what happened? I'm curious because families are complicated.
Miraculously, everybody agreed.
Really?
Yes, they did. I had them read it first. But I think it was because we were all real. Everybody knows that there's no perfect human being out there. And we wanted to share our feelings with people. And they were happy that I shared how they really felt about the situations.
Oh, I bet. Okay. Tell me, I'm curious. You work full time.
Mm-hmm.
So I have been trying to figure out when you had time to write this. Did you stay up till 2 a.m. every day after work?
It took me almost a year to write. Wow. I worked at nighttime, and I did sometimes stay up to 2 a.m. or 1 a.m. I think it was the discipline behind it. I've always enjoyed writing ever since I was about 11 years old, but it really was that I wanted to tell their story. And I had to kind of rewrite it a little, given the situation within it, how life changes. And it was just very important for me to tell the story.
Okay. Do you see yourself writing another book?
I do. I call it, it's almost like a sequel, because what I say, without giving away the story too much, is life goes on.
Yeah.
And so it's going to tell a story of my children next.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. And one last question. Did you receive advice from a writer that was helpful? Or do you have, you know, we have so many people who want to write, but somehow don't know how to get started. And somehow you went through that. And do you have any advice for future writers?
I think if you look and, you know, investigate on the internet, but also trust yourself. If you really want to write, you know, there's self-publishing nowadays that you can take advantage of. And you just have to have the determination and willpower to do it.
And stay up till 2 a.m.
And stay up till 2 a.m.
Well, thank you so much. Honestly, this is such an intimate portrayal. You'll feel like you get to know Lori's family so well, and you'll be humbled to have met them. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll turn it over to Christy and Catherine.
Well, I just want to say I'm really excited to introduce a returning author to Signatures, Catherine Lane. So welcome back, Catherine.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm delighted. I'm thrilled, in fact, to be back. It's a wonderful event.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Catherine's also a resident of the Woodlands, and you're the author of the Nikki Garcia thriller series of books, which is your first one, Waking Up in Medellin. It received many awards and accolades, as did the follow-up one, Coyote Zone. Catherine, your stories, one of the things I read about it was how fast-paced and impossible to put down once you've started to read it. So can you explain to us a bit about what it takes to write a thriller that is just...
First of all, you have to have a love of thrillers to begin with. The pacing is important in a thriller, and that's what a lot of authors don't get right. And I think that for me, it was, I put myself into the story so much, and I wanted to make sure that the person that was going to read would be right along there with Nikki Garcia and experiencing everything and trying to figure things out. And then, of course, when Nikki's life is endangered, to also feel that they have to help her overcome this situation that she's in. And that just sort of naturally points out the areas where you can heighten that suspense to make it into a thriller.
Well, you can.
Thank you.
So, for your inspiration for this series, did any of this come from your traveling and your working in Central and South America?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, my travel figures very heavily in all of my work. But also, the first book, Waking Up in Medellin, I used a world that I knew. Just like John Grisham is an attorney and he writes about lawyers, I was an international finance person who had, obviously, then I used that background to write the first novel. People have asked me if I'm Nikki Garcia. No, I'm not. She's pure fiction. All of the situations are fiction, but there is that element of placing it in a world that I knew. That doesn't mean I didn't have to do a lot of research, though, because to make everything believable, you do have to do research. Not only online research, maybe reading other books, but also traveling back to those areas. Because in a couple of cases in Waking Up in Medellin, I talk about Cartagena and the Tayrona National Park. Well, I hadn't been there for about 10 years, so I needed to go back. And sure enough, things change, so you have to come back and change the manuscript a little bit.
Well, I know you have a lot of fans of this, and I think many will be wondering, is this series going to continue? Do you have any more books in the works?
Yes, because I have a contract, so
There you go.
I am kind of anxious to get through my third Nikki novel so that because I want to do another novel that has nothing to do with Nikki, and I'm anxious to get that one started. I'm taking notes and doing a little bit of research because I'll be starting that one next year. But yes, I'm working on the third one. It takes place in Barcelona, Spain, and love Barcelona, so I just had to place a novel there so that I could have the excuse of going there.
Oh, well, that's a good reason. Well, in addition to releasing Coyote Zone last year, you also released this one, Backyard Volcano and Other Mysteries of the Heart. So you were very busy last year.
I was.
Can you tell us a little bit about your inspiration behind your short stories that you have in here?
Well, that's actually my favorite book. I love some of the things that are in there. I love the title story. It takes up half the book. It's really a novella. And because of my love of volcanoes and having grown up in Mexico, although there weren't any backyard volcanoes near where I was, but I had traveled to see a lot of volcanoes. So that is sort of the background again, the environment that I've used. But I love that. Those stories are a little more literary than my thrillers are, obviously, because thrillers are a genre. They're not literary. I also have humor, and I have a couple of Mexican ghost stories. Not typical ghost stories, not vampires, but ghost stories.
Well, this one has also received awards and great reviews.
It did. It got the best short story collection at Killer Nashville in August of this year, which
Congratulations.
Absolutely
That's
blew me
lovely.
away. I was so thrilled.
As a returning author to visitor to signatures, can you tell us what it means to you to come to the event?
To me, it's the crowning event that I
you.
attend. It is unbelievable. First of all, it is so well organized. And then the warmth that everyone is received with is just unbelievable. Of course, those mimosas are very nice. When I walked in last year, and every year, the decoration of the venue is unbelievable. But when I walked in last year and there were 4 train conductors there to welcome people, I just felt I'd stepped onto the movie set for Girl on the Train.
Mhm.
It was just unbelievable. So for me, it is the best event I have ever attended. And I have attended things all the way from North Carolina to New Mexico. So I've covered a lot of territory. I've covered a lot of events. I do a lot of small presentations, 30 to 50 people. And this one is definitely a crowd that is just unbelievable and such a wonderful event.
Thank you. Well, speaking of the crowd, what do you think the attendees feel when they're at the event?
Oh, they love it. They absolutely love it. In fact, and I think this year is going to be spectacular. They've all been spectacular in different ways, but the one this year with Kevin Kwan is just, it's out of the ballpark. It really will be, because he is supposed to, I don't know him, but he is supposed to be just fantastic in his speaking engagements as well as a one-on-one basis.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, we look forward to seeing you on November 30th at our Signatures Luncheon.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank
Susan?
you. Thank
Oh,
you.
sorry.
Lori and Catherine, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having us.
We hope we gave you some reasons to attend Signatures. We look forward to seeing you there. You can come meet Catherine and Lori and a dozen other visiting authors, but you'll have to find out who the other visiting authors there are on the day. Remember, we have Kevin Kwan coming. We have the raffle where you could win your trip to Singapore. So we look forward to seeing you on November 30th at the Marriott. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.